Hi there, it's Christy with the Chirp YouTube channel. Today I am here for you with another video in my little echolalia series. My previous videos on echolalia have received lots and lots of views and quite a good number of comments and questions. I think it's a good issue to keep on talking about because it seems to be interesting to people and because there is a lot to learn. Let me start out by describing what echolalia is. Think of echolalia like you would think of your typical cartoon parrot. Whatever the person says, the parrot says, exactly the same way that the person says it. If a person says, "I'm going to make a sandwich," the parrot would say, "I'm going to make a sandwich." He wouldn't say, "You're going to make a sandwich," or "I want a sandwich." He would repeat exactly the same thing that the human said. This is why echolalia is sometimes called parroting or parrot speak, because it sounds very much like a parrot repeating exactly the words that his human companion says. As you can imagine, it's very difficult to have an appropriate communication interaction with someone who is demonstrating echolalia. It is not a proper back and forth conversation the way that you would think. Echolalia is not part of typical language development. It usually occurs when there is an underlying language disorder or communication disorder. Not that it can't be overcome, it definitely can. There is always hope, and it does require some specialty treatments, some specialty strategies to help a kid learn how to communicate in more effective ways. An example of echolalia might be me saying hi to one of my students. "Hi, Sarah," and my student says back, "Hi, Sarah." The inflection is probably similar, even the hand motion might be similar. It is a mirroring of what I just did. Another thing we commonly see with echolalia is that given a choice of two things, apple or banana, the child will choose the last object. If I offer cars or trucks, the child will say trucks. If I offer apple or banana, the child will say banana. If I offer the chance of burritos or spaghetti, the child will say spaghetti. This is because the last thing that was said sticks in the mind, and that's what gets repeated. Another thing you might notice if your child or a student has a challenge in the area of echolalia is repeating the same phrase in every situation that is similar, even if that phrase is not appropriate. So for example, if one time the child went out the door and said, "We're going to the store," perhaps the child every time you leave out the front door says, "We're going to the store." Even if you're going to school, even if you're going to church, wherever you're going, the child still says, "We're going to the store." Because in the child's mind, going out the door, this is what I say. It becomes a pattern, kind of a script that we need to work on. Now that I've described a few of the different communication behaviors that you might see in a child with echolalia, I want to say that echolalia is not something that needs to be just stamped out because it's terrible. It is a communication strategy. It is a way for your child to communicate. We like communication. We simply need to figure out how to interpret what the child is saying and teach more appropriate ways to communicate those things. In this video, I will give you a quick overview of some of the different ways that you can intervene in certain types of echolalia. The first one is pronoun difficulties. If my child is echoing what I say, and I say, "Do you want a sandwich?" my child is probably going to respond, "You want a sandwich," or "Do you want a sandwich?" In this case, the echo is standing in for yes or for a request. "I would like a sandwich." This is an issue of pronouns because when I say, "Do you want a sandwich?" the child's brain has to switch you to I want a sandwich. A typically developing child is going to have an easier time doing this than is a child who has some sort of a language difficulty or a communication delay. So we need to make it a little easier. When I'm going to ask my child or my student if she wants something, I might model I want a sandwich, please, instead of asking her, do you want a sandwich? This is called as if speaking, and it means I speak as if I am the child, so that whatever words the child repeats are appropriate from her perspective. Imagine that you are teaching a parrot how to say, I like crackers. You're not going to teach the parrot, you want crackers. The parrot's just going to say, you want crackers. And that's not what we want. We need to teach from the child's perspective if this area of pronouns is a challenging one. You can use this in lots of different circumstances. I want, in food, in toys. I need help, rather than do you need help? When your child wants to be picked up, rather than saying, you want to be picked up, we say, I want to be picked up, or pick me up, please. When a child needs to be pushed on the swing, you want to push? No, we would say, push me, please, and we would push the kid. We want to model exactly what we want the child to say. Situation 2 is repeating the last item in a list. Like I mentioned, apple or banana, the kid's going to pick banana. In this case, we really want to be using some visual supports. Visual supports are extremely important for all children with communication delays or disorders, because their first language is not what goes in through their ears, it's what goes in through their eyes. It is visual. I have lots of resources on visual supports on this channel, and also I will put links to them in the box below this video. Please go check them out. They will be invaluable to you. They are books and other videos and wonderful people who have done a lot of research in this area long before I came along, who will have lots of experience and expertise and suggestions for you. You can see examples of visual communication books in some of the videos that I've done on communication books, and I'll link one up in the top corner of this video. You can see that they can be used with students who are very minimally verbal or completely nonverbal, as well as for students who have very advanced language skills, but who have difficulty with pronoun reversal and with choosing the last thing rather than choosing what they actually want. In the case of choosing the last thing in a list, what you want to do is put all the items on a communication board or in a communication book, and instead of saying, do you want this or this, you put the book in front of the child and you model, I want, and then they pick the picture, and then you finish the sentence. Oranges, please. In this case, they're not being guided by the last thing in the list. They're able to look at the board and pick the picture of exactly what they wanted. And it comes from internally rather than from externally, which is the kind of communication that we want. Situation 3 is where your child is using a phrase that is not appropriate for the current situation. So the example I used previously was the one of going out the front door and the child says, we're going to the store. In this case, what I would do is offer more information and redirect the child away from that phrase towards a more appropriate one. You can use visuals, of course, in this situation as well, and you can hold up a visual that says, not to the store, to the park. We're going to the park. And every time you leave, have a picture of where you're going, or show the child a picture on your phone of the place that you're going. And every time your child says, we're going to the store, say, to the park. We're going to the park. Repeat the place you actually are going so that that gets in the child's brain, rather than the child continuing to repeat the place you're not actually going this time. Let's do another example of this situation. Let's say your child is at home and just says swinging and sliding, swinging and sliding. And you're not sure exactly to what she refers, but a good way to deal with this is by adding information to her phrase. So if she's saying swinging and sliding, treat it as if it's meaningful. Treat all communication efforts as if they are meaningful. That is tip number 1 in everything that I can offer. Treat every communication attempt as if it is meaningful. Even if you don't think that it is, treat it as if it is. So I'm going to treat her comment as if it has meaning. I'm going to assume that what she's thinking about is a trip we took to the park last week, where we went down the slide and we were swinging on the swing. So I'm going to say, the park was fun. And then she says, swinging and sliding. I wish I were at the park right now. Swinging and sliding, swinging and sliding. When I'm at the park, I like to go down the slide. I like to go on the swings. I'm offering her some pre-created little tidbits of language that she can put away in her toolbox and she can use instead of using that same old phrase. This is the kind of communication support that a lot of kids need as they're working their way out of echolalia. Once again, you'll notice I'm doing it from the child's perspective. I like to swing on the slide. I like to swing. I like to slide. I wish I were at the park right now. And of course, I want to add some encouragement, such as, I will get to go to the park again soon. I love going to the park. I'm creating for her a little script that is going to get stored away in her brain, that is going to help her learn how to communicate some of those things that she may be thinking. Of course, I can't read her mind. I don't know for sure if that's what she's thinking, but I'm treating her comment as if it's meaningful, and therefore I want to support whatever it is that she does want to communicate when that comes out. So I'm providing nuggets of language that she can pick up and use if she would like to. As you can see, the best way to deal with echolalia is to shape it, to support it, and to encourage more appropriate ways of communicating whatever the need is or the thought is behind that original repeated phrase. I hope this video was helpful to you. Echolalia can be a big topic. There's a lot of research around it. There are a lot of different people offering you advice. This is just one perspective with some very simple ideas that I hope work well for you. Keep on coming back to watch more videos and keep on learning whatever you can so that you can help your students and so that you can help your own children. Thank you for watching. Have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.